Call the meeting to order. Join us in the pledge of allegiance. Pledge of
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Approve the agenda. I'd like to change the agenda by removing item A under the consent agenda and moving the Main Street Director comments to the end, or to below mayor comments. Motion to approve agenda with said changes.
Move to approve.
All in favor? Opposed?
Why did we take any off?
Because I was asked to.
He just left.
By Sandy.
Okay.
He just left. He got called
Oh, it's
out.
not ready.
He just got called out.
Fire chief.
Last week was Fire Prevention Week. It was, means it was homecoming. At the same time, we moved it to this past week. The guys have been down to the elementary school on Tuesday, spent the entire day from about 8 to about 3. We did about a little over 575 kids. Today they were at Wigwam Daycare, did 75 kids. Last week they went down to Bloomfield Daycare. It did 10 or 15. Matt Froh went down and did Whirly Birds. I think he did maybe 15 or 20 kids. And we've got one left. So in total, we've pretty much got around 700 kids.
84 at Whirlsburg.
Was there 84?
84 kids there.
So we just about covered 800 kids in that's PK through 4.
Whoever came to my son's class did a good job because he was talking the whole, it was the night of conference and the whole ride back from Sheridan, he was Osceola, he was talking about wanted to know our plans for this and where our safe spot was and all this meeting spot and all this other stuff.
Well, that's been the one thing we were talking about. The pre-K up to about 2nd grade, they're still learning, absorbing, but we're finding out that 3rd and 4th graders, we could pretty much turn it over and let them teach it. So we're gonna have to advance our curriculum, find new things, because this year they worked on carbon monoxide, they worked on wildfires. We'll probably introduce fire extinguishers, 911, how to talk to dispatchers. So it's a good deal. The guys enjoy it. It's a long day. They come home and their tails are between their legs because the kids will wear you out. Every kid's got at least 1, if not 4 stories. But no, it's a great day. It's a huge opportunity. You just can't ask for anything better. So did pictures and got some information for Karen so she can make a good article in the paper so people get a big picture of what it costs to run a fire department and how much it does cost to outfit a fireman, cost of the trucks, stuff like that. So other than that, I don't have anything else. We're doing good down there.
Maybe you can start 6th graders on the firefighter 1 trip.
Well, my goal is to start the freshmen at high school through the firefighter 1 curriculum. Then after like their senior year, when it gets close to spring, they'll be given the opportunity to test. And hopefully the ones that passed and the night of awards, senior awards night, they'll be given their firefighter 1 certificate. So it's something, if they stay, that's great. If they go to college somewhere, they got that certificate. So another fire department, but it's a good way to learn things.
Thanks for doing all that.
That's no problem,
It
man.
helps the community. Let's see, no rec director. Public comments?
Yes. Get my thing out here.
We getting ahead of you?
Usually carry my 38 up there. Who is Jeff Clark?
He's running for council.
I know that, and from this article in the paper, we don't want no part of him, and I wanted to tell him so, but I can't get a hold of him.
I don't have the contact information for him either.
I don't think they ought to be running unless they got a way you can call them or something. Cause this boy needs a lot of help. Needs to be straightened out. Nobody knows how to get a hold of him.
I don't.
How about you, Karen? You should know everybody. You know how to get a hold of him?
I do.
You do? Could you give me his phone number?
Not right now, because I'm recording right now and I can't get to it.
Could you write it up here? Or you can't get to
I
it?
can't get to it right now while I'm recording.
Well, you can't do me any good then.
Not right at the moment.
But he was telling them how they need to take care of the tenants. And he apparently doesn't have any experience at all. Right here is a picture of the trash that I had the tenant leave me, and that's just half of it. Everybody see it? That's what they'll do to you. And he's wanting to give them more leeway. And then the city administrator, have you got one?
Yep.
Huh?
Mr. Andy Morris, he's our interim city administrator.
Don't you think we could have got along without one? The taxpayers is overloaded now. That's what I was gonna talk about tonight, and I'm too late. City clerk could have done everything he'll be doing. Could you fix me up a little, list of what you do so I can see whether I'm getting my money's worth or not? I just paid $6,000 taxes and that was only half of it.
I can't say how much of that goes to me, Mayor, but if you'll give me your contact information, maybe I'll be more than happy to visit with you, share with you.
I didn't hear you.
Leave me your phone number or some way to reach you.
I'm in the phone book.
Okay.
I'm not like some of these politicians that's scared to have their phone number listed.
I'll give him your contact information. He'll get a hold of you and have a discussion with you.
That'll be good.
Yeah, I got a little something.
Okay.
I just want clarification on whatever the city policy is or ordinance, whatever you call it, on campaign signs. What city employees, representatives can and can't do. I've been told by some folks who, various levels of the city that they can't have a campaign sign in their yard. But I see where there's a councilman that has one in his front yard. Don't want to name. I don't care if he's got a sign or not. I just want parity. I want it fair and equal across the board. Either you're allowed to, as a city employee, to have a sign in your yard or you're not. If they're not, then it has to be across the board, equal. So if I can get some clarity on what the policy is on that.
Just a thought on that, and it was an item that we talked about on the staff level, and that is not uncommon at all if you have a council member that whether he or she is running or not, and they want to have someone sign in the yard, that's all good and well. Typically though, I know like the International City Managers Association I belong to, of course I think are held to the same. You are not to have any political advocacies, whether they're signs or brochures or quite frankly anything. I don't know whether or not the code speaks to that or not. I would imagine it does. I know most cities I've worked in over the years, typically the people that work for the city do not put signs of a particular person that's running to potentially be one of their bosses.
Right, that's how I understood it, having worked 29 years for a city government entity myself, we weren't allowed to do that. But I'm saying where
But Mr. Mayor, what I need to do, let me check the code.
As a council, any council members and myself are allowed to have signs.
For your own election.
No, we can have signs for other elections also, but the employees cannot.
Are you not a representative of the city and held to the same regulation?
We're not considered employees.
Okay, that's what I'm trying to find out. What is the rule? What is the?
Again, the mayor said,
Council.
these are typically people that are, let's just say on the city's, they're an employee of the city, payroll, whatever you want to call it, but elected officials, again, it's not uncommon for them to have state and national signs in their yard, and that's free speech.
Right, I understand for their own elections. I wasn't sure if they were allowed to have it for other people.
I've seen it, I've seen it.
That's what I wanted to find out. I said, I don't care if he's got a sign in his yard. I just wanted equal, if it's being allowed for one employee, it should be allowed for all.
No employees are supposed to have any
And
signs.
that's under the, and again, I don't know everything that's involved.
Well, Mayor,
Council.
I'll research this a little bit, Danny and I will work on this, and we'll get back with you. If we don't have a policy, we'll put a proposal in front of you.
Yeah, the councilmen are not held to that same standard, then I'm fine with that. I just wanted to make sure, I wanted to find out for my own
The way I understand it,
verification.
we're not.
You're not held to
We're
that
not.
same standard. Okay,
We're not held to that same standard because we're not
all right.
employees.
Well, that's what I wanted to find out, so I knew that, you know, if it was one way or not, then it should be either everyone or.
All or none, so
Right.
it's,
Yeah, so that's what I want to find out. Thank you.
any other public comments?
Dan, I would just like to ask about a packet. That helps me a lot to have a packet of council materials.
Me too.
Yeah, I like to go through and double check. That allows me to double check a lot of figures. If I have that, it allows me to take notes on that paper. It just helps me in writing a more complete story. So I would like to get that in one way or another, even if it's emailed. If you're trying to conserve printing costs, email it. I'll take care of my own printing costs and print it off. But I would like to
I
have.
think that was the reason behind some of it was we was using a lot of paper because with all the stuff we was going through. And so we was just, when we talked about it, we really wasn't sure who wanted one or who needed one or who had
And
one. or
I
needed
know.
it. I mean, if you need one, I mean, I can't say we can't print one. I just think we was unsure who all needed them.
I don't need everything. I know there are times when you've given me a packet that's thick. I don't need it all. But if that's
Well, maybe
sent,
we'll
if
just
that's
send-
sent, then I can print off what I want to
Maybe
have
we'll just do
and have
that.
it beside
We
me.
can do
during
that way
council
we
meeting.
can print, because there's a lot of stuff in here that, yeah, that you wouldn't need.
Right,
But
but
we can
I
send
need
it,
I need to determine what I need and what I don't.
we can
So,
send it electronically and she can print off what she wants. Does anybody else want a paper copy packet?
No, I can, if we're not bringing it, I can print it
Well, we
myself,
can
that's
print
fine.
it, we just.
No, I can do it myself, I think there were some additions after the last time I looked at it.
I'm not, I can't work the computer fast enough to do what I need, so I like to have paper, and like Karen says, I can make notes on it, whatnot. So. Any other public comments? New business. Approve a resolution authorizing the city administrator, city clerk to make the appropriate interfund transfers of sums and record the same in the appropriate manner for fiscal year 2020 for the city of Bloomfield, Iowa. Just recommend to transfer $13,915.75 from Fund 323 CDBG Energy Efficiency to Fund 630 Electric.
Mayor, are you reading from the resolution or the staff narrative?
I'm reading from the
Yes.
recommendation
Okay,
portion
yes.
of this.
Yes.
Anybody got any more questions about that? Motion to approve.
Move to approve.
Matt,
Yes.
Darren,
Yes.
Jack,
Yes.
Earl,
Yes.
Scott,
Yes.
Discuss inspection process for housing incentive program. Adam Smith's house that he built at the end of Good Street is finished. He's got some people interested in it, possibly wanting to move in. He told me Friday, which is tomorrow. We really don't have a process of how he's gonna get the inspection done as far as the occupancy inspection portion. I talked with Steve. He did construction work, I'll think of his last name here, Davidson, yeah. He's done construction work for quite a few years, and I think he has some degree in some inspection process and stuff, and would be willing to help us with that process till we get something else put in place, or maybe that's how we want to handle it, but I think
I was told Area 15 offers this inspection.
do they offer that?
And that, like, rental inspections and housing completion inspections, they do all that stuff.
I suppose we just need to get a hold of them and find out if they do it, but it's kind of a time sensitive thing a little bit. We need to try to get something done with it, so. Because the price of the house, I mean, it all reflects back on how soon you can get it priced and sold.
Could somebody, city staff, just reach out to Area 15?
Yeah, somebody just needs to get over there.
I'll do that. I'll reach out to Chris Fowler, she's executive director, ask him about it.
And if they don't, or there's something, I mean, we can always get a hold of, Steve said he'd be willing to help us too, so.
Okay, I'll get back.
Adam called me and was just wanting to try to get it done sooner than later so that he could get it taken care of. And he's wanting to get started on another one, so.
Right.
Discuss sidewalks on the square.
I put this on there, I had a discussion with Evan.
Yes.
I wanted to get everybody's input in this. We took a walk around the square today, just kind of get an initial start on this. I know we all want to get something going with the sidewalks.
Yeah, I guess my initial feeling, the kind of the scope of the project, as Darren alluded to, and what he's trying to propose is maybe just removing the curb and gutter around and in front of the business square buildings, repairing that curb and gutter, and then repairing these sidewalks up to the building fronts. Quite a few questions are still involved with building fronts and when you're doing sidewalks with ADA issues. I don't know enough background on it right now to tell you which way to go with the ADA, because it all depends on where the actual physical property lines are. But we can greatly improve the sidewalks in front of the businesses and kind of make that town area clean. I know you guys have had plans in the past that were not received favorably, but what we're looking at doing is just doing mostly straight concrete work and curb and gutter in the area, and trying to work out and find a way to fund it, whether it's through SRF funds or whether it's through working with you guys and using your TIF funds that you have on this project. I guess what I'm looking for tonight, and if you can, since Darren and I talked, you can provide more information on his feel of it, but looking for a action towards us coming back here in 2 weeks and giving you a proposal for the cost of design and a more forward stated scope of work that HR Green would provide for you guys. And then hopefully have maybe a ballpark number for you at that time with our proposal of, and this would be a very high number that we feel like we could get it constructed for. So where you guys would know kind of upfront what you would be in for if you guys would hire us to do that design.
They have they have the plans that were designed from before, so that should take care of a lot of the survey work, I would think.
Yeah, and if Danny can contact the old engineer that did the older plans, that survey work, should be able to get the CAD files and forward it to us. So about 90% of that survey work would be done. Maybe there's only 10% where we need to come back down and fill in a little bit, but it's not going to be that huge upfront cost where we got to pay for 2-3 day survey around the main town square. So we can use some of the old work and get some of that cost back that you guys have already paid for there too.
Darren, what are you thinking ballpark is gonna need to be allocated for the sidewalk?
He would have a better guesstimate than I would.
I'll have to work on some of those numbers. I wasn't expecting to
He ain't
like.
like Larry, he ain't throwing a number.
Yeah,
I'm not, let's say I'm not as experienced as Larry to have those good numbers in the back of my head yet.
I just wanted to go up and take a look around with an engineer and kind of wanted to get the discussion started here to kind of, see if we wanted to get a go-ahead on at least moving forward with it. You know, I wanted to go out, say, 3 foot away from the curbs where we've got some serious issues in the parking, edge of the parking area, and then back to the building fronts.
My belief is we have a decent ROI on money spent on the square if we spend it wisely. So it's probably worth it. Those should be the homeowner's responsibility, I think. But I think for the square, it's different because of the community benefit. We have, yeah, as we have funded and there's a community benefit. We have a lot of events, community events down on the square where folks utilize those sidewalks. There's an ROI to the community as a whole. So I think it's worth looking into personally.
And we can't really fix the sidewalks without fixing the curbs. A lot of our curbs are deteriorated, and to me, in order to fix the sidewalks, you need to get the curbs established first. And
Is it possible, I know we've got a couple letters from some building owners about the curbs, and I think part of the issue goes back to that ordinance. Is it possible to have someone at the city just reach out to them and respond and say, we got this is what we're looking at?
I think so. It may be a matter of time as how long it's gonna
Yeah,
take.
just
to
let
get
them
this
know, like, this
done.
is why we can't give an answer, because we're looking into maybe doing something.
There may be an issue or two, which we were talking today. I think there's one spot there that may be some self-leveling concrete, and a low spot may be a temporary solution rather than to go ahead and tear it out, put new in, and then turn around and tear it out again to make it uniform. And then the east side, as we talk, is gonna be a bit of a issue because it's so flat. But I think everything else is workable.
Would look to be in good shape with just a curb removal, and since there's been so many overlays out there, bringing in a new curb and bringing it up 6 inches will actually help with the raising that sidewalk up and lowering the slopes to get your kind of ADA compliance that we will be forced into making sure those sidewalks are compliant.
And then as far as the rest of the street goes, we can work that into our street program at a later date when the streets are more in need of it there. They're not in that bad of condition yet.
You come back and mill and fill, and then you have your nice concrete curbs that you're overlaying right up against with that gutter pit that we can be doing.
And the reason the street is so humped up right now is because when they do an asphalt overlay, they put 4 inches in the middle of the street down to a 1/4 inch at the curb. That's why it's like climbing a mountain in the middle.
One other thing we did discuss too is your current sidewalk standards with the curb grade being set in that ordinance. You guys may want to look at it and edit that ordinance how you see fit. But
We talked about that before, that we should just remove that.
Well, it's outdated. It's, like I said, that's the reason it's so ridiculous is because of the asphalt overlays. It's done so many years that it's not even applicable. And then we also need to discuss how far off the square we want to go at all, a half a block. I think it's gonna depend on the situation. You know, there's certain sidewalks that need a little, some need a
That's where
lot.
you're gonna get into a gray area with folks feeling like they've been left out.
I think it depends on the condition of the sidewalk. Obviously, we don't want to get too far off, because some of them need to come off the square a little bit, but
As far as the ordinance change, I think it's mainly the square that the ordinance doesn't match.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I'm just from looking at other streets, I'm just wondering, I don't know that we want to take it clear out of the ordinance. We may want to just put a stipulate, you know, toward the square would be different.
well, the whole,
If that would be
the
one
whole
way to do
idea,
it.
and you can correct me if I'm wrong, the whole idea of that ordinance, really the only thing that makes any difference is if the water drains off the street to the curb and runs down to where it drains out.
Yeah.
And we were talking, the standard is that you only need a drain intake every 400 feet. What you said,
Yeah,
So-
storm sewer lines, intake or a storm access manhole every 400 feet. So where Danny and his crews can easily get in with their cleaning equipment and maintain them and scope them, when there's a problem.
so that would only work out to one per side.
Yeah.
So it's not like you have to dig up the entire side of the square to lay a storm sewer. So really, as long as you've got access for water to go into one per side or at the corners, you know, somewhere as long as the water, it's not like you're gonna have to dig up the entire square to redo sidewalks. If you put some sort of a water barrier under the sidewalks to keep the water from penetrating into the buildings, like it has been an issue, that will help solve that. Now, whether coal chutes are gonna be a big problem, that's,
Yeah, there's two ways to kind of deal with those. We can either fill them, which in talking with Darren and what you guys have seen working through the older plans, doesn't sound like it's a good option. The other option is in the areas where we know the coal chutes are, or we run across them, we can do a little thicker section of sidewalk, concrete with some rebar and reinforcing and make it basically its own standalone structural slab. So it just bridges over that gap.
Do you need to fill the chutes for structural security of the building? Those need to be filled anyway. Might be wrong.
That I'm not sure. I'm gonna have to follow up with a building person, but
It sounds like something. As a non-construction person, it just sounds like something you want to fill in. That'd be a problem.
AC moisture.
Any other discussion on the sidewalks?
basically, we're just looking for a,
Everybody wanting to put something together and bring it back in a couple weeks and see what it is?
and that's the way you guys want me to proceed with this kind of scope is removing curb and gutter and doing sidewalks all the way to the building face. And that's kind of the scope of work and how we're gonna work. Nothing out with the main roads or anything yet. We'll come back and get them out at future time.
Approve change order number 5 with Drish Construction for the proposed water main and wastewater improvements Division 2 sanitary sewer 18 WSO 26 in the amount of $12,375.
So this additional work is on the sanitary sewer project. It's for 165 linear feet of curb and gutter to help with drainage against the street section that they are working on. And the unit price was $75 a linear foot for this curb and gutter section, which is a little pricey, but not out of what you would, maybe not down here prices, but not a shocking price to me with what I've seen.
So this is an option. What normally happens is they've, going up Jefferson, of course, some of the equipment's tore up from the curb. You know, that curb up there was just, formed, asphalt. Of course, we've had a lot of it tore out through blade and everything else throughout the years. So we just kind of picked a spot where it's the worst on the south side. It's 165-foot linear going down around basically the turn area there. And it'll come out, it'll be 24 inches. It'll actually be a curb and gutter. So it'll be, the curb and port and all that. So it's about, 3 times as high as normal, but nobody likes to do curb because you got to hand form and do all that. So that's why it's a little higher too. And plus it's out there. So it is $75 linear foot and about 165 feet. So that's, again, it's an option. We don't have to, but it's just on that corner.
3 times higher than normal, should we bid it out?
But not higher normal, it's just higher than flat work, I should say. It's higher than flat work. Flat work's cheaper, but since you're doing curb and gutter, it's higher. But
What do you do if you don't do curb and gutter?
it's just gonna be like what it is right now. So we don't do the curb and gutter. It's a bad road.
Did they not, wasn't aware it was gonna be tore out when they?
No, they're replacing what they've done. This is an add-on if we
This
wanted
is
to.
extra?
Right, that's what I'm trying to tell you. This is extra if we want to do it. If we don't want to do it, we can leave it. So it's just, that south side is pretty bad. So I just asked them to give me a price and a quote since they're here, and they'll be doing it on the other side, trying to take advantage of the mobilization. I mean, that's busy street. You guys have seen it. So it's just,
Does this fall under the CDBG portion?
correct. So I mean, it'll all be part of that balanced out. So when we get done, I know that's the numbers you've been talking about all along is, are we ahead or are we under? We came under on this portion of the project right now. So, it'll fall in there somewhere, coming our matching too.
Number, so.
Right.
Well, what's everybody's, the original contract was $502,000. With this change, we're gonna be at $464. Because this is the one we took something out of and we changed it and it was cheaper.
From either there, I think it makes sense to do it.
That's what I'm saying. I'm just, but it's your decision, so.
Got a motion.
You said we wanted my opinion.
Put your opinion in motion form, we'll go to the next item.
All right, I'll make a motion to approve the change order number 5. Curb and gutter.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Discuss Ballfield committee and meeting dates. I put this on there again because we've had some confusion. We've got a committee to discuss it. We had some confusion in the office with staff as far as when we're gonna have this meeting and who needs to be at the meeting. So we just wanted to clarify for the staff what the council's idea was as far as this, so they can move forward with getting the right people there.
And Mayor, just to add on to that, what you mentioned, I sent a follow-up email. I sent 11 of them out today to the folks that were essentially on that invite list, and told them that the mayor wants to visit with some of the council members and develop your ideas and plans, because it probably makes better sense for you to develop something in-house before you just go and visit with them. Again, the 11 went out today, and I've had 2 responses. But I've informed everyone, there's no definitive date yet, but that needs to be determined by council. And when that is, of course, I'll share it with those folks who are on the list.
So I guess from my standpoint, do we want to meet with the other organizations and the school and everybody and get their input to come back to a work session? Or do we want to discuss this some more in a work session before the committee goes to that meeting?
My opinion, Mayor, and again, as your call, I think council members should meet first. Just like that.
So, yeah, I mean, I know we've had a couple lengthy discussions, but it really wasn't the council discussing our ideas or plans. It was more just, so.
If you decide to open it up for discussion with the other organizations. I'm sure the Fair Board would like to participate because they came into our Fair Board meeting last night and gave the same spiel that they had here. So, and what after they left, the discussion was it would be not, the Fair Board doesn't know what the city's thinking or the county's thinking, so it'd be nice to know. They'd like to know what everybody's thinking.
Or do we just invite all these people to our work session and just have it there?
So we could start earlier and we can discuss them.
Yeah.
So we can have a 6 o'clock work session and discuss it earlier and then have everybody come at 7?
I mean, if we're gonna do that, that's what I like to see.
I had several weeks ago before the last meeting where we appointed the committee, I just had a conversation with Scott to get his background, because I don't have any real history with paper. And that was very helpful, so I think there'd be some benefit to the committee meeting together with the council members that are on it and Scott, just to kind of talk out and flesh out.
So we need to have, council, and then we'll invite Scott Spurgeon to that early portion of that discussion. I did talk to him the following day after we appointed him.
He's still talking.
And he was fine with it, yeah, he was okay, he was glad we thought of him to even do that, so.
Can I say something?
Make it quick.
I can do that. Should the taxpayers be asked to pay for $400,000 or $500,000 ball field, or have I been misinformed, or
I
what?
think you're misinformed.
Well, I'll try to, you gonna have more meetings? I'd like to attend,
All right, we'll keep you informed.
okay?
Okay, anything else on the ball field? So what day do we want this work session? We got a meeting next week with HRG to let the
That would be,
asphalt,
it's the public hearing,
public hearing,
And
to
then
let
we'll
the
have
bids for the
the-
asphalt.
the award of the bid, then if, depending on how the bid opening goes, this coming Monday is actually the bid opening for that.
Okay, so we'll have that on the 24th. Regular meeting's on the 7th, we can't change it to a work session.
But you already did.
Well, I thought I didn't know I couldn't.
Oh, okay, all right,
I think I got informed differently.
okay.
We've got a meeting the 24th.
Yeah. And the meeting on the 7th, we can't take a regular meeting and change it to a work session.
Okay, that's,
You want to do it before the regular
So
meeting?
actually, why don't we, I mean, if we want to have some discussion about it, we can do it after the meeting on the 24th, because that's going to be a short meeting. We're all going to be here.
hopefully it's a short meeting.
You want to have a work session with the whole council then?
We'll just have our council portion of this ball field thing after, we'll just have it in the meeting. We'll just, after we go through our agenda items, we'll just go to work session.
Mr. Mayor, one question then, so you want them, the folks who are on that list to come or no?
No, not on that 24th. We'll do our discussion then, and then we'll, I think the best way to probably do that is there's so many different entities. We just probably need to pick a date or two, and whichever works out the best for the most of them, that's what we do.
And that's another question, because that, it gives them kind of short notice. I don't have a problem in contact with them, but it's kind of a short notice.
So really, we probably can do it either November 14th. Let's just shoot for the 14th of November. We'll do that one. Then we can start it at 6 o'clock, fire station. We can start it earlier. That way we're not maybe running so late. Meeting on the 24th at 7 o'clock here.
So are you not gonna have the work session on the 24th?
We'll just have it after the regular meeting.
Okay. And the 14th is the whole.
The 14th will be the whole group.
Clear as mud. So full council on the 14th at 6 o'clock.
With the organizations,
With
the school, the supervisors and the fair board and
That's the fire department.
everybody that wants to be involved in the Ballfield discussion at the fire station at 6 o'clock on November the 14th.
And then we have a meeting.
We have a meeting next Thursday here at 7 for the public hearing for the asphalt. Letting of the,
And then,
public hearing for the asphalt,
Public
hopefully
hearing.
let the bids,
and then close it, and then, yeah.
then we'll. Approve mayor signing statement of support for the gas public awareness plan.
And that, again, that's just our annual requirement for PHMSA, which is the gas oversight. And it's just, we need that signed by the mayor. It's just basically a formality.
Move to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Authorize letting of bids for replacement of intake at corner of Highway 63 and Jefferson Street. We don't have a written bid. Danny talked to Drish and they give him a verbal estimate of what they thought it would take. That's the one by the old exchange bank corner.
That's basically the highway and high visibility area. And I just was trying to speed this one up and get them in there to do it. He finally got the bid back to me today, but, so I just wanted to, I was actually gonna ask to pull this, but again, I guess what's your opinion, to let it or go with somebody that's here and get it done? I mean, it's under the mandatory bid price. You don't have to bid it because it's not that high. It's, the word is, so. Just
How much is the bid? I don't see it anywhere.
I don't know, it's right around 20. I mean, without traffic control, under 20. But
Traffic control could be anywhere from between 5 and 10.
it just says it's a highway, and but we're looking at 10 days, so construction time to get in and get out. And he can do it as soon as he's done up here on the street, up here on Jefferson. So that's the other thing too, is time-wise. A lot of the other people are not available. We're just looking, trying to get this one done. And it's actually pretty detailed. It's not I'm not saying it's not easy, but it's I gotta get a copy of the plan. I know you saw the plan that's in there, but it's a pretty intense intersection in the scope of work. So it's that whole corner, a lot of linear curve and everything else there too. So, and ADA compliance, and it's really, it's a weird intake. So
Are you comfortable moving forward without a written estimate, just with a verbal?
yes, I am. I mean, I would like to, I mean, they're gonna bring us one, you can improve it too, whatever, but I mean, he's gonna get us, he was just waiting on traffic control estimate, didn't have it approved, otherwise he gave me a written one, so. But I would like.
Can we get a written and bring it to the 24th
Sure,
meeting?
yeah, that's fine, yep. I
would feel better with the written.
I'm fine with that too,
And he can have traffic control included,
right,
so that we know what it is. I'm not saying we need to go out for bid, but whoever we're getting it from, I want
right,
a number.
I agree.
think it's probably good.
Yeah, I just basically just didn't want to let it out, I just wanted, basically your decision not to let it, and we'll just
Yeah,
bring
we'll
some
just,
back.
and then if you got somebody else in mind, you wanna get another bid or two on it by then, just bring it with you and we'll
Okay.
decide the 24th. Authorize letting of bids for storm sewer intake repairs at various locations.
So we have actually 13 that we need to replace in town right now that are pretty, we got more than that, but 13 are real bad. So it's like, some of them are gonna be done over by the school area. I didn't put any of those on there because those will be done in conjunction with the streets project. So I just put there's 3 that are higher. Of course, the one is south Franklin, or west on Franklin, and then one on behind the river. But so they're labeled on here 2, 3, and 4 on the map there. So. So two of them on Columbia and one on Franklin. So right there, Columbia, or right on Columbia and Arkansas, and then Columbia and probably north. Yeah. They need a map there, but, so those three. The reason I put the three together, again, to keep it down on cost, you're probably gonna average $6,000 to $8,000 per intake. So,
Is one of those on, is that above my property?
yeah, cause it's the way out. I mean, it's just open hole right now, so. Definitely gotta get that closed up. And then Franklin's real bad, and then 3, which is right down there. So like 10, 9, 8, 8, 7, those will all be done, soon, you know, with the project, streets project.
So you're wanting our blessing to get bids?
Right, so we're gonna put it out in the paper, get bids, accept bids for 2, 3, and 4. And it'll be open to sealed bid, it'll be sealed bids and open it to, I think the 7th council meeting. So,
Alright. To hopefully get done yet this fall.
correct.
Approve request not to replace sidewalk at 303 North Elm.
We need to,
We just give him. Has everybody seen this or looked at it?
So your pictures, you can see some, but
did we do that?
No.
no. Anyway, I think there's other different pictures too inside your package, the package too, but,
What happened there?
so, well, many things, it's all, that block of 300 Elm is pretty much underwater, so, it's always constantly underwater, it's low in her front yard, and, she's had roofing done, some other electrical stuff being done. Part of it was damaged, but the other part she just took out because of the part being damaged. And she's had a contractor come in and look at replacing it, but they didn't want to replace it because it's the grade, it's all below ground. Talking about raising it. I think Earl's been over there because he does the building permits and looks at that, so I don't know if he had any comments, but she, again, there's an option is possibly, that side of the block really is bad for sidewalks. All that sidewalks underwater most of the time when it's wet. So a couple of the houses right next to it, they put gravel in the front and they park in the front, which is, you know, against the ordinance there too. So, she's trying to do the right thing, but again, it's expensive. And, you know, she's asking just not to have to put the sidewalk back and just make it a nice grass area where it won't hold water.
How busy is that street?
It's not, I mean, it's not very,
It's not one of the main.
it's just it's a collector street. I mean, it's not,
And the street's been recoated enough times that it's way higher than the sidewalk.
yeah, street's way higher than most of the foundations on the house there. So it's just,
So
if she puts in a sidewalk, if she raises it and puts the sidewalk in, she's basically gonna push all the water on her neighbors. So, and that's, she's trying to be a good neighbor too, but again, it's just, that's why I had to look at it and make you guys make a decision, to put it back. And again, worms not having to put them back, but I think if you look at it, that's why it's kind of in the council, approval to not put them back. It's kind of case by case basis. That block really,
So what's she gonna do with it if she doesn't put it back?
I guess she's gonna have to figure out a way to put it in. I guess.
No, if she doesn't put it back, what's it gonna be?
Oh, she's gonna just nice grass, seed it all back and,
There is sidewalk on the other side of the street.
right.
they're gonna,
But if she doesn't put it back.
Level it up,
still
fill it up.
Yeah, she's gonna put grass, seed it, level up, put it all nice.
so that it doesn't hold water.
Right, yeah. So, well, so she's gonna put a little swale in the front. She'll have like a little swale in the front, like normal, like you should have in the ditches, but there's, you know, she'll probably be the only house on that block, it'll be actually probably the way it should be.
Mr. Mayor, just a question on that one, and this may have already discussed this in Public Works, that does this connect to either, I don't know if it's north, south, east, or west, does that connect to other sidewalks?
Yes.
Okay. I'm not, again, I've not heard of removing sidewalks. That's not the state, is it? Bad, I just know, I've never seen it in cities out here.
Further up on the north end of that, up on the corner, the grass has grown over the sidewalk so bad that you can't even see the concrete. So,
Well, the ordinance doesn't say,
It says you can, if you put it back, you have to put it back to certain standards, but it doesn't say that if you tear it out, you have to put it back. It just says if you have to, it's gotta meet standards, right?
And that's the catch, so we're just, she's trying to do the right thing.
she's
That's
in the
why
middle of
she's
the
here.
block and there is sidewalk on both sides of her now.
Well, it looks like it needs tore out too.
Yeah, it's, both,
That's what I
her
thought.
neighbors are all
sidewalk
at
to
their,
the south is actually pretty decent.
yeah, but it's about 25% of it's underwater too. So it gets better as it gets closer to the corner, but the rest going north are all underwater in bad shape. Most of them park on it. So, she's put a lot of money in her house this year and she's just, they've, the people that did the roof tore up part of that sidewalk. She wants to do the right thing, but it's just cost advantage and really
We put it,
weight of her yard.
should fix the sidewalk and they tore it up on the thing.
I think that goes back to us with some contractor and building requirements we should have in town, but we don't have a lot of.
Mr. Mayor, again, I don't, again, put this in front of me in reading through this, I don't see anything that speaks to whether or not one could essentially abandon one or not. I'm not pining for one way or another, just if you do it, it might be nice to have code language that backs it up.
Which one, which chapter is this?
That's what
But do we open a can of worms if we let one person abandon a sidewalk,
Yeah,
does everybody in town
that's my
abandon a
concern.
sidewalk?
That's my concern, Councilman.
I mean, doesn't it say in here that they have to repair the sidewalk?
But that's where it's kind of case by case and you guys approve it or not, I guess, in my opinion, but that's.
There's always the variance thing.
What is the
You think maybe
responsibility?
we ought to have legal look at it and see if
Right,
the
Mr. Mayor,
ordinance reads that way, and if it doesn't, then we'll have to do a variance.
well, I don't even know, a variance may not be, not the Councilman Garrett's point, if you look at 13606, the city may order the construction of permanent sidewalks on any street or court in the city and may specially assess the cost of such improvement to abutting property owners in accordance with the code. I don't see any, it would be, I think, worth it to find out, first of all, whether other cities do this. I'm not aware of this, but I think, so you don't set a precedent, would want to know that before.
Here's my other thought. If we make them fix the sidewalk and put it back to the code, you're gonna have to make the other two people on that same side of the block do theirs, because one of them's gonna be 2 foot higher than the other.
That's right.
Mhm. And that was the other issue is, that's why I was talking about it's not gonna jive with everything else.
Well, if you go out and look at it, I don't know that it's all gonna be 2 foot higher, it's not quite that much.
Probably 8 inches.
Well,
8
yeah.
inches.
It needs filled in with rock and then a new sidewalk put on it, but where it meets the other, you could taper it down. I drove by
Which would
twice.
have to meet ADA.
I 13604 says it's the responsibility of the abutting property owners to repair, replace, or reconstruct, or cause to be repaired, replaced, or reconstruct all broken or defective sidewalks, and to maintain in a safe and hazard-free condition any sidewalk outside the lot and property lines and inside the curb line.
Mr. Mayor, the cabbage on that 13610, to have to know what Councilman Cronin said, is that it's specifically listed here as a duty. But again, I think your point may be wise to get some legal counsel on this.
My concern is there's sidewalks all over town that are in bad shape, and I'm just concerned that we're opening a can of worms. That's my concern. How do you justify when, at some point, we're gonna get to the point where we're gonna have to start forcing people to repair their sidewalks? How do you justify going to someone and saying, you have to pay to replace to repair your sidewalk when we told this person they didn't have to?
I know in some cities they've done it where the guy on the side with no sidewalk pays for the guy's sidewalk on the other side, and then that guy has to maintain it. That way they both have to share in the cost.
If we did something like that, and I mean, I've seen that where you basically have a trail with sidewalk, so it's a wider sidewalk, it's 6 or 8 foot wide on one side of the road. And then, so if we wanted to go through and say, because of drainage, it doesn't make sense to have a sidewalk on that side of the road, and then we go through and put a wider sidewalk on the other side so families can walk side by side with strollers and more bike friendly and all that. And you do some kind of assessment to even out the cost, that makes a ton of sense, and it's a blueprint we can follow
In the future.
in the future where we go through, is this how we're gonna mitigate this street that has bad sidewalks on both sides, we're just gonna put them on one side.
You could, yeah, I mean, you could do a SMID.
Yeah,
Mr. Mayor, to that point about the SMID though, I know in other cities I've been in, there can be an offset program where city goes in and they put the sidewalk in and it's placed against their taxes. I don't know whether we use that program or not, that's.
But if you do one block, the sidewalk on all 4 sides, and then you don't do it on the opposing sides of the blocks around it.
Right.
And you can SMID that whole area and they can all help pay for it.
then you have parking on one side and the sidewalk on the other, so it's safer for pedestrians. It works out, that can work out.
I've got a house up there, 305 North Elm, right at the end there. There ain't one person a week walks up
I
there.
think we're looking at it.
Right,
Your
that's 303, yeah.
303. So, where I was talking about the grass.
Yours is
being on the
underwater.
sidewalk.
Well, I'm against it, so don't move it around up there, leave it alone. You got enough things to do other places.
I say, let's talk to legal, get maybe some ideas from other areas, look into that a little bit, and we'll bring that topic back on the 24th.
24's getting longer.
I know it, but I want to make,
Yes.
if we need to get back to them, if we're gonna say, hey, you gotta put your sidewalk in, we need to do it early enough yet this fall that they can do it.
Yeah.
So.
Danny, the house that this abuts, is it owner occupied or rental?
Any more questions on the sidewalk? Table till the next meeting to seek advice. Approved form for exit interviews.
Mr. Mayor, on that one, that was a request from, we just with some of the council members having an exit interview form for the employees. I went and researched from 3 other municipalities, and it's a little long, but I put that together. That's common practice. In most of the private sector, when someone leaves, you're asking them questions as to what motivated them, that it's subject to change. As I said, this is a form that I put together, and it's something for council to look at. And if you want to adopt it, that's fine. If you want to take more time to go over it, I'm okay with that as well. Typically, then these reports would go to HR and just remain in their file.
Everybody had a chance to look at it?
Good to know. Was it in the package?
Everybody like it?
I thought it was acceptable.
We'll just include that. Thank you, Mayor.
All right, put that in the motion, we'll approve it.
Move to approve the exit interview form.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Discuss and approve posting of lineman position and advertising of no union interest.
Good discussion, move to approve it.
You want to approve it? Was this review date, this is 5/16, the last time this was updated?
I don't think we've changed anything since then.
The only thing I see that might make a little bit of difference under the required knowledge, skills, and abilities, it does have almost clear to the end. The ability to climb and work off poles with lineman pole hooks, but that's not in the job functions. To be able to, I don't know that that's. I mean, because you can have the ability to do it, but if the job function doesn't tell you you have to, I'm just wondering if that ought to be added to.
That's an apprenticeship job, so they'll learn all that through the apprenticeship program.
I mean, it's also, I think it's part of safety. I mean, you have to be able to do recovery before you get on the pole. Recovery.
But this is for, this. This isn't for apprentice,
That's a lead job then?
No, that's alignment.
it's lineman. But it's evidently a journeyman lineman because it requires them to have a journeyman certificate.
So,
So is this the right job description for what we're wanting?
I mean, we want a lineman, I mean, the journeyman would be the best, but I think if you motion to accept apprentice too, we can do that. So, I mean, post it and accept apprentice when we post the position.
We don't have a separate job description for an apprentice.
We just have to make sure whatever we post to the union, whatever we post outside has to be posted to the union. So if we post it inside with accepting apprentice, then it'd be posted in, and it'd be the same thing outside.
Anybody got any more questions? Anybody got any questions?
Do you want what you were talking about added to the, approve it? with
Well,
that
I think
addition?
it, I mean, it's in the abilities, which is employee standards. I mean, if they go through apprenticeship school, I mean, they're gonna hook. I mean, they're gonna climb poles, they're gonna do all that. But under their job functions, if you don't have under the functions that they gotta climb a pole, they gotta back the truck down in the muddy hole and get it stuck so they don't, I mean, to me, I think I would add it somewhere as far as using basket truck, digger trucks, trenchers, and climbing poles or something, somehow, however it would be properly worded.
well, I think you need to come up with an apprentice. You can't be asking for a journeyman and then have an apprentice.
Well, that's what I don't, that's my,
So you need to either post an apprentice job or a journeyman's.
yeah, because if you don't post this as it is, you can't. And somebody in-house wants to bid on the job, we don't have, I mean,
Under required licenses, it says completion of journeyman certification with issuance of journeyman card. But it's like preferred experience is 2 years as a lineman. But just because it's preferred doesn't mean it's what you have to have.
The journeyman's card, is that a requirement? Is that listed as a job requirement?
it says required licenses, registrations, and
So
certifications.
if we posted that, we can't hire someone that doesn't have that.
And it's got, If you do an apprentice, they're probably not gonna have a CDL with the air brakes. I mean, they can get that, but they probably can't. I'm just wondering if we ought to take them 2 items and move them up to the preferred experience section.
Andy, you think that?
If you're gonna have one job description to fit everybody, we're gonna have to move a few things. I mean, we're gonna have to move some of that stuff around.
Do you wanna approve it with such and such changes?
We can, I mean, however somebody wants to.
Well, you wanna move some of the required licenses and registrations up to?
Well, if we're just gonna have one job description, we need to move the CDL with air brakes and the completion of journeyman certification with issuance of journeyman card up to preferred experience, so that both a lineman or an apprentice fits the job description.
Got that? I'll make the motion to approve it with said changes.
And then we're gonna move the lineman pole hooks to the front.
Yes.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Discuss and approve 3-year preventive maintenance agreement for lift stations and water plant generators for $12,096 per year.
So you have 2 proposals there, Clifford Power, which used to be called Everpar, and they've sold, now it's Clifford Power, and then Central Power Systems. Both are basically out of Kansas City. One's, Central is out of Liberty, so just a little further north. Both proposals, they mirror each other, looking at different stuff, talked about what they're gonna do. They're both doing I had them quote out doing a service twice a year. Once is an annual full service preventive maintenance, once is a semi-annual inspection. And when they come for the semi-annual inspection, they'll do a 2-hour load bank performed at that inspection. So with 8 generators, basically the cost is $12,096 with Central Power. They're a little higher than Clifford, but we've had them both here to do work. Central was a lot better than Clifford Power was, and also their mileage rate is actually cheaper. So if we end up having to do additional maintenance and call them back, they're $2 a mile versus $2.50 a mile for Clifford Power. So the normal labor, the normal cost is $145 an hour. So it's 3 hours away, and it's $2 a mile versus $2.50 a mile for Clifford Power. So additional work that we have to do. So I just recommend Central over Clifford Power.
Are we good with giving them the discretion to do up to $750 of work and up to $700 for fuel drop-off without our authorization?
Correct. I mean, I am. We don't have to do we have propane and natural gas. So we're trying to burn all the natural gas, but so they don't top off diesel or gas. So.
Did you ever contact that guy? I gave you
Yes,
the
he's
number?
actually, that's Central Power Systems.
That's him?
Yep.
Guy I talked to was
He was out of Illinois, I think, and he ended up sending me on to this one, and that's who came second. So we had Clifford Power earlier last year. They actually did a lot of work for us out at the water plant. It cost us about $3 grand last year. And Central Power came this year and did some work for us this year. And I was more pleased with the service and the turnaround from Central Power. Actually, one of the service techs that was at Central Power left Clifford and went to Central, so.
Clifford looks like they only warrant their work for 30 days.
Right. And we've also none of these generators have been in a preventive maintenance agreement before, so we really need to do one. And that's gonna come up in the next line. We're gonna talk about generators again, but we really need to have the generators looked at more regularly. They'll set them up to where they'll run at certain times, and eventually, we'd like to get them into where we're being able to track the data and maintenance and stuff on them more. So. this will get us on a regular schedule and routine, hopefully, with generators. I think we're gonna probably look at replacing some generators here this next year. We're probably gonna have to budget that. I think we're gonna have some issues. Number one, for the wastewater treatment plant, that one is gonna have to, when they start construction, we do have to replace that one. So we may be moving one of those around to somewhere else, but.
Are they pretty much apples to apples?
Yes.
I don't think we can take the higher bid.
I believe you can accept the higher bid as long as you have evidence showing that,
If it's apples to apples, there's not really any evidence showing that we're getting.
but if we've had better service from the other one, I think we can.
And like I said, the cost out of, the service outside of normal, service schedule is cheaper with central power system than Clipper Power. Central does have more accounts in this area, so they have more service techs in this area more often than Clifford too, as well.
What kind of generators does Clifford sell?
Oh, can't remember. Can't name it off the top of my head. Because we already talked about one and I can't remember what brand it was now. Nobody's a fan of Generacs, I know that.
Not when you buy residential generators for commercial application.
I know, right.
Generac makes a commercial application generator that's not that bad.
So Clifford's is $5,000 less than Central's. It looks like. Am I reading that right?
No.
Well, I don't know what it's,
I thought
it's
it
got
was
$7,000 on the front page and then it's got $11,000 back ways. What's that?
Oh, so the one with, I think the first one on Clifford is without the 2-hour load bank. So we want the 2-hour load bank, which would be the higher one there, which is the $11,602. And then Central is $12,096.
So it costs $4,000 a year to do a 2-hour load bank?
On all of them. Because they're here 2 hours while they're running.
You can do that yourself.
Again, you don't have to accept that, I mean, you can go without the load bank. So 700 without load bank, and the other one is, or 7,000, but 6,996. And then,
I'll let just run it for 2 hours and put it under full load and check it.
which is where we had some of our issues with our generators, is not being a full load, so it's not been doing that until we need it, and then it's
I think they went around and started them once a week and flipped them over manually, flipped them and put them under load once a week. That's basically what you do. The biggest problem we had was automatic transfer switches didn't automatically transfer.
It's coming up.
What's your recommendation, Danny?
I would like to go to Central Power for $12,096.
And that's based on your prior experience with them?
Mhm. We're gonna, like I said, we're gonna get into where we're gonna have to do some generator, probably replacement, and lots of repairs here. The next line, we have 4, right now we have 4 generators that need maintenance right now, so 4 out of 8.
How do they put a full load on that for 2 hours?
Just put whatever load on it you got it tied to.
Well, we don't have nothing that'll run over 30 minutes. Unless there's a storm. Like lift station 1, lift station 2, they wouldn't run in 10 minutes before the pumps would shut off.
Oh, just because of
Ain't that much flow in it. So to do a 2-hour run, I don't know, unless they've got something they're gonna plug into it and pull it for 2 hours,
this is.
they're not gonna get the load from us,
Yes.
because it ain't there.
That's your 28.
There ain't even a 2-hour run on any of our lift stations.
Are they gonna put a full load on, they gonna bring something and put a full load on it like 2 hours and run it?
That's what they said, full load test right there, so load bank, well, it said load bank test, doesn't say full load. So whatever the load bank is required. It's probably whatever the generator specifications are. I'm sure they're going by the book when they do their test, so I'm sure they got a checklist in the book.
Can we get clarification on that?
Sure, I mean, if you want to table it, we'll come back to it.
I wanna know if they're just gonna, cause they're just gonna turn the power off and let it run and just run the pump that's there for their load test. That's not really satisfactory. If we're gonna do a load test, it needs to be under 80% load, stress it out for a couple hours to make sure it's not gonna get hot or overheat or. We'll bring that back. No, we're gonna put that on November 7th. Well, I don't know, we probably better not.
Well, if you take care of this next one, we probably could just extend some time, so. I don't think we can table it.
Let's do we'll put the agreement on the November 7th. Approve Central Power Systems and Services to diagnose and repair generators at lift station 2.6 and 6A for an approximate cost of $3,000.
I put approximate cost in there because I know the mayor doesn't like not to exceed amount. So again, $145 an hour, 3 hours away, $2 a mile. You know, we're already at about $1,000. That's why I put this on here too. We have 4 generators need to be looked at. We have 2 of them that have a transfer switch issue. One of them's having an oil issue, and then we have one that I think is possibly toast. So we got to get it looked at. So, at least one of those also. Huh?
Like you said, it was a generator.
They all are.
They're all generators.
Except it's toast.
Oh. Yeah.
So this is a stupid question, but the utility side pays for these, right? This
Correct.
isn't coming out of.
Sewer. So, well, except for the last one, Jaguar Trail, that's a water generator, but sewer is the other ones. The 7 are sewer lift stations and 1 is the water plant backup power for the control of the water towers.
Well, this has 2.6 and 6A. It's 3.
Yeah. Well, there's another one since then, so I know approving that, but I need to get them here, so I'd like to approve at least 3,000, get them here, and I imagine it's gonna, once we get into parts, and it may be more, especially if that one's not repairable, so I just gotta get them here.
Motion to approve.
They're good for you.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
While you got them here, you just find out about the other one.
Approved lease with Stu Hansen for dump truck, plow, spreader.
So I know we've talked about this, we leased the last truck, I know for a water truck that's coming up. You know, we budgeted 45,000 this year for vehicles. We've spent about 18 there. So you know, we still have some money left over for this year, but again, I know I've done a 5-year commitment. This is a 5-year commitment and a rotation plan to get trucks in the fleet, start rotating stock out, you know, and really with cities that can't afford a lot, you know, the lease options are the big thing. So what I'd like to do is lease a 2019 Dodge Ram 550 chassis with a 11-foot dump box with a shaker on it, and plus this new spreader, 11-foot spreader, and a 10-foot plow on the front. And we can lease that, and the lease options were there for $18,041.96 for 4 years. So, and this could be delivered on, we could have it this in November yet, so we could have it at the end of November for this snow season.
So on the invoice from truck equipment, it says 29,000.
Right. That is for the 3 pieces of equipment, so that's the spreader, the box, and the plow, and that's his invoice to Stu Hansen. They will pay for that, and then it goes on the truck cost. If you notice the truck cost, the price of the truck, that Stu Hansen's price is $48,595. However, our state price, procurement price, is $37,559. So $37,559 plus the $29,000 gets you the total of $66,863.34, and we do 4 installments of $18,000 per year.
Looks like, if I'm reading this right, which is hard on my phone, it looks like the interest rate's 5.34.
Correct. And this is why I talked, and so part of this too, I know, so we've had, you know, city administrator changes and back and forth. So some of this is like, in going forward, and we can even maybe buy out our leases or whatever, how that works, but we can, if we work with our own banks, if we do whatever, we can actually get different rates and do different things. So it's just right now, I guess we haven't had the manpower to do some of that stuff. So this is just working with the truck vendors to get this going, and this is through Dodge, and this is why I went with Dodge, because it's cheaper. It's a better interest rate with Dodge than it is with Ford and Chevy right now, and the truck is in stock, so and I'd like to get it for this year. My goal, I'd like, you know, ideally, I'd like to have a $50,000 a year commitment to vehicles and rotate 2 a year. And in 5 years, we could then, at the end of these 5 years, we have an option, dollar buyback option. So we could buy that truck back for $1, and then we can turn around and trade it in on the next truck, and then your next time lease would be actually less, and you keep that in. And what's a good thing about the lease too is you actually have that service, you know, your warranties and that stuff. And it just gets us into the newer fleet, rotating the fleet out with the equipment like the chassis, you know, with the plow and all those kind of things. You're gonna get probably multiple trucks out of that equipment. So the equipment will own at the end of the 5 years. The trucks will trade in again. So hopefully, like in 10 years, 15 years, the cost of our fleet will be way down. And plus, also through maintenance and that, we should have reduced costs too as well. So what we're paying in interest, I think, you know, what we're gonna save in other issues far outweigh the interest. Now, could we do better at different banks? Yes. But I'd like to, you know, so this is basically a 5-year commitment.
Is our bucket truck gas?
Bucket truck. We have
Huh? Dodge or Ford?
one
Dodge, diesel.
Dodge diesel. This is gas.
This Dodge truck's a gas?
Gas, 6.4.
About $11,000 of interest.
What, you didn't price Chevys or Fords?
No. So it would be available this year, and the interest rates would be higher. This one's ready. I've actually had this working. We tried to get this going. Again, the breakdown and just a changeover. I'd like to get this.
So Dave, you just go through Stu Hansen, but that's the only one that that's the reason you know the Ford or Chevy's not available.
Correct, yeah. So we did, our other one was a Ford, and just the availability and what was there was just, these guys had the better right. So I worked with Truck Equipment, is the person for the equipment to get there. He's the one that found the truck and whatever. I talked to him next time, like, if we do it like the Ford, I want to go through Fester, probably is closer, or, you know, lines of Dodge or whatever, so we can do that. But there's still a warranty there. But the problem usually with the Dodge, like our other big, like our truck is that usually local dealers here don't work on those bigger trucks anyway. We still got to haul them to Des Moines for the better service because they don't have the truck service people local here. So.
I'd like to see us try to get a fleet of the same brand or just a couple brands, so we don't have to carry so many different oils and filters and parts and all that stuff.
That's just, I tried that too, and it's just a lot higher, and it's, if you don't buy, it's, like everything else is time and price. Well, it's.
I mean, all you did was price one trip.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I had them priced up that we can get this year, but, I mean, even like Dean's truck, we priced multiple trucks in it, but again, it's pushing it to next year before we get that. And getting this too is looking at, one thing we need to do too is reduce the size of our fleet. We have a few too many trucks, and so we do have some we need to get rid of that are some maintenance heavy. And then also, honestly, I think we reduce some of our fleet, our guys take a little bit better care of them too, because if they always got a backup truck they can go to, they'll tear up one truck and not another. So it's just,
So we tear up equipment because we got more in the
I'm
garage.
not saying they are, I'm just saying the chances are there. I'm just saying it's better if we, sometimes we don't need as much. We can take care of what we have.
You guys can do it if you want. I'm not in favor of it without getting some bids for other models and checking with local financing. My opinion.
I'm not, I don't know enough about the trucks, I wonder about the leasing, whether that's, I'd like to, personally, I'd just like to see that pencil out and how that works in the maintenance plan and the impact that the extra $11,000 of interest has over a fleet of 5 vehicles. That's another truck we could buy in that 5 years. But then again, I don't know. We have a fleet that's all aged, and this is the fastest way to place them. That's the part I'm struggling with penciling out in my, just on the fly. That's what I'm. And it seems that I haven't looked at this in a while, but that rate for a municipal rate, that rate seems a little high. 5.4 for a tax, the tax adjust, would be I think a high rate. But I haven't looked at municipal leases in a while. I think it's, yeah.
So is this a slide-in spreader box?
Correct.
We're gonna get rid of anything?
I'd like to, yes. And some stuff's not even, Chevy doesn't have a gas motor in 45 or 5500, and Stivers didn't have anything available. So,
Is there a specific reason you're wanting gas versus diesel?
just because of that depth, it's just we don't run, they idle so much. Our stuff idles, we don't get traveling long distance for diesel. It's just, we've had a lot of trouble with that diesel Dodge. We actually got it up, and what did we spend on that truck this year? We spent quite a bit on that truck. It's actually doing real well now, but it cost us a lot to get it that far. We tried to drive it a lot more. It's been driven a lot more now, but,
With the debits, we don't get enough RPMs to get the 3gen. We don't get up to 55 for 45 minutes or whatever, so it can do it's clean.
Is this something we need before the snow starts flying?
yes, I'd like to have it before the snow starts flying. And
Yeah.
yes, we do. We do need it.
What do we need? Well, who's gonna run it? We got more snow plows now than we got people.
We have stuff that's on this, I mean, we honestly, even the one truck that has the spreader on it now, that chassis, Adam's been welding on it for like a week. It seems like to put everything back together. We're, just like you said, we have a pretty aged fleet that's run down. We've ordered more parts for that spreader. Every time we turn around, we're ordering parts for that spreader. We ain't got to the season yet, so we'll end up putting more into that spreader. But we definitely need to get, and this starts us on the plan. We just gotta get to where we can start.
When would this truck would be here by the time we're expecting snow?
We know bills. I don't know if it can't much to snow, but I'd like to have it end of November.
So here's my deal, it's not the hill I'm gonna die on, but I will move approval because I don't wanna be caught with like with the power outage and have a snowfall and our equipment's not working. That said, I'm making that, Danny, with a fair amount of trust and confidence and reliance on the staff's recommendation and the analysis of it, so I'll make the motion.
I'll second it.
I personally would like to see some more quotes.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Aye. I guess for future reference, we want more than one quote and we want it on different stuff. We don't just bring in something that you want and that's it.
I mean, that's,
From where you want to get it from. Because we can get, that same truck you can get at Vaughn's and take it to Vaughn's to get worked on. Because they can transfer it down here from Stu Hansen. We just need more information and more options than just one.
I would agree with that.
Approve Freedom Buildings to repair Salt Hood Building for $6,756.83.
I think, I don't know if there's a picture on there, but our salt building, the back side of it came off, and it's, that's actually welded polypropylene through the back there, so we can't fix it. We could potentially get up there and sew it and use some, basically fishing line and try to get some seatbelt webbing in there to try to get it patched through, but it's, but then again, the time to do it and getting it up there is no guarantee. So really to replace it, that's the cost. That's who we bought from before, the Freedom Builders, that's who has that item, so. I called Atumwa Tent and Awning to see about patching it and whatever, and they said you really can't do those. Somebody'd have to do it. They wouldn't do it, and he said you'd have to do it on your own. And I asked about gluing it, if there's any type of glue, and he said there's really nothing that works. It's just that stuff. Once it goes, it's a welding type, how they weld that together. It's just once those are gone, they're not curvable. And I think this was put in 2005, so it's 14 years old.
Danny, this is a fix. This will fix it.
It's a new cover, yeah, so they'll come in and install a new
Okay,
cover.
all right.
The whole new 40 by 50 foot hoop cover, basically. Replacing one metal bar, there's one metal bar that's been on the south side.
Move to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Approve M3 Fabrication to build an external wire cabinet for T1 for the amount of $1,450.
I just put this on there again, so I know that some of the council members, the mayor was there when we talked about building that box, and that's the cost to build that, fabricate that box and get it on there, so we can start going that one.
This is the banker in the group, so non-technical. Is that the whole
Across the top,
housing?
right, it's like an L-shaped top.
Where all those cabinets were on the side where?
Yeah, so this is just the box.
This is
This is the box to get the wires from the conduits that come up out of the ground over to the door that's got a
Okay.
hole in it, and the door, a new door.
It's not that whole housing that the.
No, and a new door that's replaces the door that's got a hole in it, and then a piece to go on the roof where the conduits are coming out to patch the hole on the roof.
Were we gonna replace that whole building? I thought there was some talk about
Eventually.
that.
Well, I mean, we've talked about it, but
Okay.
in the meantime,
This
we
is a
gotta,
short
we
term.
gotta get the wires from T1 to T2 so we can get back to one
Okay.
transformer, so we ain't buying electric energy that we're not getting.
Got it.
Move to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Approved payment to municipal supply for miscellaneous water supplies in the amount of $2105.40.
I don't have this, but I think this was just one of those things that was approved, we just need to approve the payment, don't we? I don't have it on there, I don't know what it is. Must just got the invoice
Approve the
in.
payment.
It's above, yeah, approve the payment.
Move to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Approved payment to SIEC for mutual aid services in the amount of $3997.47.
So that, yeah, so that is Southern Iowa Electric came in and did their work, and they, so that's what they billed us, which is pretty, I think, pretty gracious. I think they, you know, there's a lot of time and other stuff they probably didn't bill us out of that, so that's a.
Move to approve with a thank you.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? What's this municipal supply sheet for 4,800?
That's a big group.
Is that the wrong sheet?
That's the wrong sheet, sorry.
Oh, it is. Alright.
Because that's electric meters, this is water, that's like, better not mix them two.
Sorry, that's my fault.
Approved payment to Shermco Industries for emergency call out and troubleshooting services for September 28th electric outage in the amount of $15,797.
So this is the bill one of two. This is the initial call out when they came down and did the original work on the night of the 28th and through there. The second bill will be coming, we'll have that on the next one for when they came and repaired the bus bar. When they did all the bus bar work and all that, I guess around 18,000. So this is the one of two Sherman.
Move to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Claims,
I had a question on the HR Green invoices. They're on here. One of them looked like one of them we elected not to pay. I think it's 129. And normally I think we have invoices for them. I didn't see the invoices packet. But there's one that says project 190507 CDBG SS in East Street. And they didn't see the invoice. I wanted to know, is that the one that we weren't gonna pay?
well, here's, the wording on that is a little bit weird because they threw the East Street Bridge inspection process in the same as the sanitary sewer inspection process. They're not separated.
I just didn't know because usually we have HR Green, we have their invoices in here, and I didn't see the invoice, so I wanted to make sure that was not the invoice we decided we weren't gonna pay.
We did not pay the 4,300, whatever it was. And I did talk to them again today and made sure that they understood, and they know that we're not, so they know they're eating that bill, so they're gonna talk about it. So.
Wait, it's slow.
So in all rights, this 190507, there should be some money left over when the sewer project's done unless we keep extending the sewer project where there's more inspection work, because part of that money in that is for the bridge, the culvert, was for the culvert.
So what's the one above that project, 190249?
Service, that's their project number, so it's not our project number.
But is it,
190249 is general engineering services.
So that is our monthly, is that our monthly bill?
wow.
Is that higher than normal?
They're trying to make up 4,000.
Yes, it's $4,000 higher than normal.
This goes clear back to, there's stuff in June on here, July.
Yeah.
I'd look at that, because they caught all that, we called them and said something to them about that, and they caught all that up, they had everything caught up in our monthly stuff up to August or September 1st, when we did that,
Paid
they're,
like 149,000 that one month, sure.
is that,
Yeah, but I feel better on the attorneys and on the engineer, I just feel better looking at the invoices because of the dollar amounts and I might have missed them, but I didn't see any.
no, you won't have the individual bills in there. I don't have.
Don't we usually have the HR Green, we
We
have
have
the
had it.
invoices separately.
Yeah, we've seen them.
So,
I don't have them in my packet, I think I asked.
That might have been one of them.
Sandy hasn't here, even if you wanna see them.
that wouldn't have been one of the ones we approved, just didn't get paid, was it? Maybe just, it's now just getting claims? I don't know.
They're both dated August 13th, so that's possible. This is 3 months worth, 2 months usual. So we might have already approved.
It might have been approved just on the claims now, I think.
I got it, that makes sense. Sorry. I'll move approval.
What do we,
I'm sorry, go ahead.
what are we getting uniforms
We're at,
from Census?
that's Adams, mechanic uniforms.
So he gets that instead of a clothing allowance?
Correct. He has a laundry service and everything. He gets his stuff swapped out weekly. He has 6 sets plus coveralls and it's swapped to laundry service. He was going through jeans and shirts and everything else, so we'd have to pay for new jeans more frequently.
I thought we just bought 5 shirts is all.
Well, but if they,
That's what the contract says.
okay. I think it does, I can't remember if it says something there about replacement of destroyed or damaged clothing. Maybe not. I think, doesn't it, Dave?
I mean, I know like the fire retardant stuff and stuff like that. Maybe we need to clear some of that up, because
That's part of the,
we can't just buy every article of clothing they make.
right, that's part of the
Which we
well,
have been.
so that's part of the contract we probably need to talk about and with the handbook, because there's also, with the contract doesn't align with what safety requirements are for each position. So it does cover the lineman in the contract, but it really doesn't cover the gas and the FR and everything else. So the contract's not up to date with the current safety requirements. I mean, you look at technically, if you're pushing snow in the hours of darkness, it should be NC 2 qualified, which means you have reflecting pants. I mean, so all that type of stuff we don't provide and all those things. So there's, items we need to look at as far as that. That's why it'd be better to, that'd probably be out of the contract and be in the handbook. I mean, that's future stuff, but I'm just. Because I don't think we need to buy 5 shirts every year anyway, because some people don't use 5 shirts. People got closets of shirts. I mean, need to buy what they need, if it's a shirt or if it's whatever.
It says shirt still.
Right, I know what it says. Trust me, I know.
I think we got a motion to approve the claims. We got a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Public comments? Andy, you got any?
Mr. Mayor, just one item for council. This is an item that actually, Mr. Johnson, the finance director, and I have talked about. As you've seen it in the packet, we're starting to add more of these staff summaries. Just merely a comment from my perspective. I think it's beneficial to have some background on these items, and certainly we can add more if council wants those. So what I'm going to explore and suggest anyway is that I'm going to work up, what I would essentially do, and I talked about this to staff this morning, is take the agenda that you have right now and break this down into items that would relate to staff summaries such as this. And then one, and I know this is an evil word with some council members, evil words, is the consent agenda. As you know, when you have the consent agenda, those are commonly items that don't require a great deal of discussion and debate. I've seen in the past where council members, if they want to talk about something at some greater length, they'll ask that that be removed or discussed later, so it can be put down something they can vote on. As I said, I'm going to work up a sample of this, and I'll put it in front of Mayor. I don't know whether it goes to you first or it goes to all the council members, but look at it. If you want to change it around, that's fine. If you don't want to use it, it won't hurt my feelings, but I do feel we need to have, staff needs to have more of these staff summaries to outline what it is, just put in front of you and says invoices. That's all I have.
Dean, did you say you're open for public comment?
I was a minute ago. You got one?
Well, talk louder, I can't hear.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I got one.
All right.
Why don't you wait to discuss your important business till after the election? And then you'll probably be through with Willard and Howard and get something done right for a change.
We gotta keep things moving forward. We can't just wait on.
Well, it would be a big asset to the taxpayers if you did.
I don't know if we've done anything that's, anybody would have changed their opinion of.
So I'm gonna say something on that real quick. I'm not in the business of endorsing candidates one way or the other, and Earl and I and Jack and I have agreed on plenty of things, but it's been a pleasure for me the last few months to serve with both those men, along with all of the folks on the council.
Danny, you got anything?
Sure. So Jefferson Street concrete workers will start tomorrow, so they're up there getting ready to just do that, so, just so you heads up. Home demolition started, so they'll, the one on Walnut, I think is down already, but, so that's, started, and they'll be working on those. AMI project, so, Brad Foley was here for utility use today. We sat down and believe it or not, I think we got an end in sight for this project. It's been a long time coming. So utility use last installation date will be next Wednesday, the 23rd. So we're down to 14 water meters, and those 14 water meters, 7 of them are underneath trailers. So they're gonna have to be done by the trailer park owner. 1 of them is the city property, 4 are residential and 2 are business. And those residential and business and city should be cleaned up next week. It'll just be the trailer homes we're waiting on to get done, and hopefully we'll get those done too.
Are the businesses giving you pushback, or are we just having?
Just not being able to get in. So one was the homeowner or the property owner was out of town. We actually caught him today, so we may have even taken care of one of those already today. And that leads us to 26 gas meters or gas smart points, and those will be done. However, 11 rotary industrial meters will not be done, and those basically because we're looking at each one of those meters anywhere between $2,000 to $8,000 a piece. You're looking around $50,000 to invest in replacing those meters and making them smart point eligible. So some of those meters dated age back in 1972. So we need to get those replaced. We did a proving plan this year to do some of that, and some of them failed proving, so they need to be replaced anyway. And that leaves us 82 electric industrial meters installed. All the residential electric are done. We just have 82 industrial ones to do. We're actually just waiting on the components. As soon as they're here, fairly quick to put in and swap out, so, and we'll be doing that. The 25th, so next Friday, will be the last file transfer from them, so that way everything will be in our system, and then of course, the following next week, we'll start meter reading. So we'll have, basically, we should be down to only 7 of the water meters that we have to manual read, 11 industrial meters we have to read, and then 82 ledger meters that we have to manually read. Other than that, the rest should all read through the system. It's been getting pretty good with that. The last week of November, they are gonna bring down the laptop drive-by read system that we're looking at projecting to buy. So we're gonna test run that the last week of November. So we're looking forward to that. So one of the things in the future we gotta talk about is whether we're gonna spend the $27,000 to $30,000 for the laptop system that rides around in your car for the reading, or do we go to the tower read, which is about the $100,000, and then we just, instant read. I know that was part of the phase project, but we really need to look at what we want to do and how we're going to invest that in the future.
I thought this was,
So-
was gonna be able to drive by
So-
and read when we was done. We had to buy another 30,000.
So anyway, so that's that part. And then on November 7th at the council meeting, I will bring all the numbers, roll up from the utility use contract. So how many meters were installed and what we paid for, so you can actually see what it costs to do every one of that through that process. So you'll have that on November 7th, roll up for that project. So we'll be done with the utility use and everything by the November 7th. And then they'll have their final invoice available too at that November 7th council meeting. Basically, that's all I have right now. Unless you got any questions.
Can you send me a copy of the contract we had with utility use?
Sure.
Does anybody from the council got anything?
I wanted to thank Tammy for her work with the folks that have been doing those, I'm gonna use the wrong word here, but the surveys, the economic development work, that's been very helpful. We had a good meeting before the council meeting today. It's really kind of exciting to see some of this stuff come out of that, so I appreciate that.
I don't have any comments. Tammy, you have Main Street updates or anything?
Just what we basically did tonight, talking about strategies based on the survey data, and coming up with, which I'll share with you, those of you guys that were able to come. So that's kind of what we're working towards right now.
And there's another meeting on that in November sometime?
There is, we just have to set the date, but I'm not gonna go with the 24th or the 7th.
The 24th is in October,
Oh, okay.
the 7th and the 14th.
So what Main Street Iowa will do, or Iowa Economic Development will do, is they'll take the strategies that we came up with tonight. There'll be a whole report of what our community has asked for, some of the strategies that we came up with. And it's a 30 to 40 page report that we'll roll out. And then we'll have points that we go through and mark off as we complete them, if we choose to complete them. And it just basically rolls out our entire work plan for 2020. I like it because it gives us complete focus and direction based on what our community has told us.
Closed session pursuant to Iowa Code 21.51J to discuss the purchase or sale of particular real estate only where premature disclosure could be reasonably expected to increase the price the governmental body would have to pay for that property or reduce the price the governmental body would receive for that property.
Be a motion to go to closed session.
Need a motion to go to closed session.